All right, we're back again with another edition. This time, Georgia taking on Kentucky. Doesn't even feel like Georgia or is going to play this week, given the fact that the Alabama game. But here we are. Georgia's a 20.5 point favorite at home. It's a noon kickoff. Sleepy crowd. Kentucky is Um, thoughts?
Um, well, yeah, and I would say it's one of those gotcha games. So I hope I don't know, what the players are feeling, but it's been sort of at least from this fan's perspective, it's sort of been a down week where you focus. I've tried to focus on anything but college football because I've been so irritated and disappointed and pissed off actually. So I really, it's been hard for me to get my head back into it, but we're gonna have to in a noon game. To me, if I were a betting person, I would take the points. I mean, I think that's a lot of points, and I don't think based on what I've seen, what indicates that Georgia can beat them by essentially three touchdowns. I haven't seen it thus far. So those are my thoughts. Take Kentucky and the points.
So this game could go one or two ways in my mind. One, Georgia comes out, plays really well, plays efficiently, doesn't beat themselves. They've learned from their mistakes, and they go out there and they win by 20 or more points, and everyone goes, okay, well, that was a hiccup. This team's learning, they're growing, and we move on to Auburn. Or it's a knife fight, it's a struggle fest. I think Georgia should win. Talent wise, they should win. And then it's full on panic mode going into Auburn at night at Jordan Hare. It can go one. I think those are the only two outcomes in this
Well,
game.
let me suggest something to you, or not suggest. I'm just going to relay something that I heard today, and it does. After I heard it, it doesn't surprise me. Did you know that out of the last 8 games against Power Four conference teams,
Mm-hmm.
Georgia has started off behind?
Yeah.
So I don't know what would indicate or give you any. I mean, dude, now this is beyond starting to be a trend. It is now, and you're having, if that's the case, your last 8 games against Power Four opponents, you've been behind. You're gonna have to you have to come back from behind. It takes so much energy just to get to neutral, plus to pull ahead. And that to me is, if you want to talk about what I would like to see, can we can we start a game where we're actually up by 2 to 3 scores before halftime, or going into the middle of the second quarter? Because we sure as hell haven't seen that at Georgia. And honestly, I know we've talked about it, but Glenn Schumann and this defense they've got to start taking some heat for that. We can't just. I mean, we were down. Whatever it was, 28-0 against Alabama the previous time we played them, down by 2 scores against Tennessee, got behind against Alabama. It seems to just be a trend now, and we cannot. This team is not good enough to sustain that. They're just not. Teams of the past probably could because they were that good, but now we can't. Eight games in a row, man. That's enough.
Well, what is that? Is that from Florida on? Having
Probably, I don't know what all it. I'm sure it encompasses playoffs last year and the SEC championship. And it's the last. Just take all those criteria out. The last 8 games against Power Four conferences or Power Five, whatever, we've started off behind.
Yeah, it doesn't really surprise me. I mean, Georgia hasn't had good the past. I mean, think about you had Tech, Texas, Tennessee, Notre Dame, and Alabama, in the those were the past couple of games. What? How many of those have gone into overtime? Three out of the five.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a struggle, but again, this team's talented enough. I don't know. I like. I not to give free shout outs, but people should watch it. It's actually pretty good. Davin Bellamy does like a team meeting, he calls it, and he breaks down film of the game and acts like he's talking to the team while he's breaking it down. And it was really interesting because he was pointing out the defense is like not doing the simple stuff right. And if they just did the simple stuff right, this team could be way better. And then also talking about there's that third down play somewhere in the second half where Cash Jones gets caught, he gets thrown to the opposite sideline. No one went over to pick him up, and the defense was mean mugging him, and nobody went to go help him. And he was talking about how that says a lot too. So it'll be interesting to me because Kirby's talked about it, the team has talked about it, like how they're not going to let a team beat them twice, that they're going to move on, that it hurts, and all this stuff. That all sounds good and great. But is that the case? I don't know. Again, this team is such an anomaly to me. I don't know. We knew that they were young. We knew that there's going to be games like the Alabama game on the horizon. This is a game where they should win. It's just a matter of how they look when they win.
I totally agree with that statement. Going back to what Bellamy, and I didn't watch it, so I don't know. But doing simple better. There's certain things that whenever we talk about the last 8 games, we're starting from behind. There's certain things that I get. The landscape of college football has changed because of a lot of different reasons, NIL, all that transfer, all those things. So we may never get a team as dominant as Georgia was in that 2-year run. Totally get that. But to me, doing the simple things well and better and consistently, i.e., tackling in open field, right? Getting some pressure to affect the quarterback. Maybe, I don't know, spitballing here, but maybe start throwing out some things a little bit earlier that are out of the characteristic for Georgia on defense to change some things up from what people are anticipating. Because I will tell you, there's a lot to be said that maybe, perhaps, other coaches watched that Georgia Tech film and realize Buster Faulkner figured out how to break Georgia's defense because it's just about every game after that this has happened. So I don't know if Schumann and Kirby know more about defense than I'll ever know, but we've complained and bitched about Bobo for as many years as we have, and I think a lot of it has been justified. But we also have to start looking at the defense here. We could not get off the field on third down because we couldn't tackle in space and we couldn't put pressure on the quarterback, amongst other reasons. Those are execution things to a large extent, and it's also giving your players a chance to win. The other part of this is, so far, at least on defense, I don't think Georgia's won in the transfer portal. That Mendoza kid that everybody talked about that's supposed to help you on, we haven't seen him, like very little, and when we have seen him, he's had no impact. I think we went out and got a couple of different safeties to help us in the defensive backfield.
That was more. I mean, even that was for sure.
Well, I don't know, but what I'm saying is, if we're never have been a transfer heavy team, and I get that from a philosophical standpoint. Kirby's always been good at filling holes. Well, that pass rush didn't get filled, and the guy that we brought in didn't help us. And so far, our defensive backs haven't looked all that great, and we didn't get any help there either. So all I'm saying is, I'm tired of giving and I think we've got good coaches, and I'm trusting Kirby Smart. And I know after losing one game, I'm not, sky is falling. But where there's legitimate criticisms and there's patterns starting to emerge, I think it's incumbent upon the fan base who is not getting entitled and not taking this shit for granted to start calling out some of this stuff because it's just common sense. And you don't have to be that good of a football analyst or a film guy to figure out some shit that's really pretty consistent. So that's all I'm saying. In the defense, on Kirby's defense, ever since that Georgia Tech game, I think some people watched that film and have figured some shit out. And that's what I really think.
I mean, maybe, but the defense has done enough. I just don't understand why they can't have good first half starts.
But so much. That's my point.
Yeah,
I'm not.
I know that's the
Yeah.
overall point. I don't understand it because then you come in the second half and you pitch a shutout, and if you don't get, but that means play complementary football, and that means offense starting off and getting the ball and scoring, or at least put points on the board within the first two possessions. Georgia has not done that in either of those 8 games that we've talked about.
Well, they did against Tennessee. They came right back down the field and scored.
It was 14-0.
I know, but they did come. But my point is, complementary football. I'm going to throw this out. Here's what it's not. When you allow the other team to go 13 for 19 on third down, and then when you go 2 of 9 on third down, that is not complementary football. So that would be great.
Honestly, this game, I mean, Georgia has to win. They can't lose this game. You can lose. I don't know. You can lose the Ole Miss game. You can lose the Texas game, but you cannot. And you can maybe the Tech game, but you cannot lose this game. So, what I would like to see is Noah Thomas, the tight ends, offensive gunner making good decisions. He still has not played a perfect game. He's played well. He played well against Alabama, but we were criticizing him early in the season for not waiting in the pocket and throwing the ball. Alabama, it was, well, dude, you can take off and run there. Get some yards on that. There was no one open. Why are you doing that? So I'd like to see him be able to make better decisions. That would be defense. I don't know if they're going to get a sack because that's not Kentucky's game. Kentucky is going to run the ball. I mean, they're going to be like us. They're literally a great value brand version of Georgia. So, I don't know. I would like to stop the run effectively, put pressure on the quarterback, not even get sacks, just put pressure. That's where we're at, and get some fucking turnovers. That's been the other thing that has been lacking in this run here, where we've kind of been in neutral with this defense, is we have not gotten turnovers, and the Georgia teams that were elite, the teams that won national championships, obviously 21's a little different, but that 22 team, they got turnovers. They were opportunistic. You could get them into the red zone area, and then somehow they would put their foot down and stop you. That has not happened.
I would agree with that. Not to cut you off, but that's another big thing I was thinking about in the car. This team has, for the last several years, we have not been in the plus category when it comes to turnovers. We have either been right at even or maybe even negative. And we are, I think, again this year. This team hasn't generated. We've gotten some turnovers on defense, but it's very few. We're definitely.
We had 1, 2. How many interceptions did we have? 1 or 2?
I think 2 against Tennessee. I think, and 1 wasn't the guy's fault. But it doesn't matter; it still count. But yeah, turnovers would be because this defense. My point was going to be, this defense needs some wins. If that's a stop in the red zone where we hold them for 4th down, or they get a penalty where they bow up, or they get a turnover, they need a little bit of juice going and a little bit of success to get them to believe a little bit. That's just a feel thing, but they obviously have to execute to get that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm going to take Georgia to win this game. I just want to see them improve. I know this is a young team. So people gnashing their teeth like certain people who think the sky's falling. The sky isn't falling. This team's really young. I just want to see them improve week in, week out, and not beat themselves. The past 2 weeks, they should have beaten Tennessee by way more. It should have been a blowout if we're being
Yeah.
honest.
They had a chance to take control of the game and then didn't do it. So,
Hey, in both games, they dominated the middle eight, which is Kirby's emphasis. So they're checking off all the boxes. They're just not doing. They're not filling in the correct way. So they should have beaten Tennessee by way more. It should have been a blowout. Alabama should have won by 10. Should have won by 10. There's no excuse. You're at home. They should have won by 10. They left opportunity after opportunity. So can they not beat themselves? Can they grow? Can they learn from their mistakes? Are their holes fixable? Or are they just mortal flaws? I don't know yet. It's way too early for me to say that these flaws that we have seen over the course of 4 games are mortal. I don't know yet. Can they be fixable? I would hope so. But the biggest thing to me out of all of this is they're just not executing. And that is a fixable thing. That's a focus thing.
well, that's my biggest thing. I think Georgia will win this game. I think, it just for too many reasons. We got a better roster. I think we're better. I think we're better coached. Even though as critical as I have been, I want people to hear me say that. And I think it's a home game, so I think we'll win this. But by how much, I don't know. It ain't gonna be 20, in my opinion. But to see improvement on exactly what we were talking about earlier, the small things. Can you execute at a higher level? Can you tackle in space? Can you get off the field in third down? Can you convert third downs? Can you win the turnover battle? These are all things that can you limit the penalties. That's the other thing we haven't talked about. Georgia's always been under Kirby's been a disciplined team. I saw some shit last week that I hadn't seen from a Georgia team in a long, long time. So we got to be a smarter team because there's not enough margin of error for us to kill ourselves by turning the ball over or shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties. So can we do those things? Regardless of the outcome, if we can do those things, now if we get our asses handed to us on the line of scrimmage, and I'm going to feel like, well, I should have mentioned we got to control the line of scrimmage. Well, no, I would assume that we can do that to some extent. But that's what I'm looking for. Listen, even when Gunnar Stockton, to me, was getting through his reads too fast and pulling it down and running, believe it or not, I was more okay with that because at least he wasn't losing, by and large, wasn't losing yards. So Gunnar Stockton, in my opinion, has not been the problem with this offense. The problem with the offense is we haven't utilized our weapons the way that I think, especially in the red zone, the way we could. And some of our talented guys, I'm with everybody. Where the fuck is Noah Thomas? Why did you go out and get the guy if you're not going to throw it to him? Right? That's like.
I mean, he's been missing him and Mendoza. They should look in the Athens Clarke County area for him because they're missing. Maybe Watkinsville.
Well, if I'm gonna tell you, yeah, that's what I mean. That goes back to what I said earlier. If you look so far in the off season and kind of consider that the free agency period, and you kind of evaluate professional organizations, what did you do in the off season or during the free agency? We haven't done early indications, small sample size, but a quarter of the season's gone. We didn't do shit to help us. Now Zachariah Branch, maybe, but yeah, that's a hit. But the other ones we've missed on, from what I can see.
Yeah. So, and as our boy Chips Carey would say, Colby Young. That's a pickup in free agency right there.
That's exactly right. That's like getting what's his name off steroids for the last part of the year.
Profar.
In Profar, yeah. Bonus.
All right. So let's pick the Tennessee Kentucky game. The over under is 48.5, which means they think it's going to be whoa. That's a low scoring game, and Georgia's going to win by 20.5. They think Kentucky has no offense. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I just noticed that. Okay, so the over under is 48.5. Georgia's favored by 20.5. Pick.
I do think it's going to be a low scoring game, believe it or not. You laughed at the low, but I understand the on the point spread when you consider that. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go under. I think Georgia is going to win this game to somewhere around the neighborhood of a 24-10 or 24-17. So I'll go 24-10.
Okay, wait. Let's talk about this real quick because I used to do the stats and stuff, but it's hard for me to do it now. They played Toledo. It was 24-16. They lost to Ole Miss at home. That was a 30-23 loss. They played pretty well. They played Eastern Michigan. They scored 48. That might be the anomaly. South Carolina on the road at night, 35-13. So I don't know what that means. So I'll take Georgia. 35. Let's go 40. No, that might be too much. Maybe not. You know what? I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be Mr. Positive. I have good feeling, good vibes. We're all going to feel a little bit better going into hell next week. I'll take Georgia 42, Kentucky, because you picked 10, I'll say 13. They get
All right. Well, I should take the. What that tells me is I should take the under.
Uh, yeah, their offense must be. It looked all right against Ole Miss, but I don't think Ole Miss's defense is that good. All
And
right,
yeah, I don't think South Carolina is that good either this year. And
I don't either.
they scored 13 against South Carolina, right?
Yeah. So Clemson on the road in Chapel Hill is a noon kickoff. Clemson's favored by 14.5. Pick.
I'll pick Clemson because they have to win, and I think whatever the hell is going on in North Carolina is certainly not a football program, closer to a docudrama. So I'll pick Clemson.
I'll take Clemson as well. I mean, they have to win that game. If they don't win that game, it's a little bit over for Dabo. All right, Texas going to the Swamp, 3:30. That Texas is only favored by 6.5.
I think it's going to be a slog for Texas. I think Texas probably wins the game, but I would not be totally shocked in the Swamp, 3:30 game, sling blade back up against the wall. I wouldn't be surprised if Florida actually wins this game, but I'll take Texas. But I think it's going to be close. I would take Florida in the points.
Whenever you talk about drawing blood, this is one of those games where it draws blood. I think Florida beats Texas. I'll take Florida.
I think I almost wanted to pick them. I just can't, just because I think they're so fucking dysfunctional. But
well, here's the thing: their defense is actually pretty good. Their offense is god awful. Texas's offense is awful. Their defense is okay. So I would say with that means that Florida should be in a favorable position to win if things break their way.
I'm interested in watching that game. That should be a good one to watch.
Yeah. Vandy goes to Tuscaloosa. Vanderbilt hasn't beaten Alabama in Tuscaloosa since 1984. Alabama is a favorite by 10.5. The over-under is 55.5. I know there's a lot of excitement for this game. I know they think that Vanderbilt might have a shot in this. I think Alabama puts it to them.
Not so fast, my friends. No, I actually think Bama coming off a emotional win on the road against Georgia, and then probably same thing that everybody does, underestimates Vandy. I think Vandy can put up some points. I think Bama better be. Uh, they better be careful. This is one of those gotcha games, potentially one of those trap games for Bama. And I know you said we got to be at Bama fans. I fuck that. I don't give a shit. I hope Vandy goes in there and Pavia sticks his foot so far up his fucking ass. I don't care. I don't like Bama, and I hope Bama loses. So I tell you what, I'll take Vandy in the points.
Well, look. As we all know, I'm the biggest Vanderbilt fan, but I just don't see it. But I could be totally wrong. I would love to be wrong, but I just Alabama, I think, had a hiccup early in the season against Florida State. I think they're okay, obviously. So I'll take Bama. All right, Minnesota, Ohio State. No, I'm kidding. We're not gonna pick that. All right, Miami goes on the road to Florida State. Florida State losing to Virginia last week. Miami's favored by 4.5 traveling. That should tell you a lot. The over/under's 54.5. You go.
I'll take Miami. I don't know. I just don't know anything. I mean, I've watched Florida State. I just not the way he builds a program down there and the inconsistency. I just don't have any confidence in what's going on down there. But I don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean I have a whole lot of confidence in Cristobal either. But I'll take Miami.
To me, man, this feels like Florida State is due for a win against Miami. Miami's really, I mean, I, I think we both preseason thought Carson Beck would do a lot better at Miami. Really, not played. I mean, he's played okay, but not great. Um, I'll take Florida State in the upset. I just I don't trust Cristobal. I'm not the biggest Miami guy. Um, I'll take Florida State. I think they can at home at night. That place used to be.
Used to be. We'll see if it's still there, but it used to be. Yeah. Years ago, that was not where you wanted to be playing on a Saturday night.
No, so I'll take in a big rivalry game. I'll take Florida State to cover and to win. All
Yeah.
right.
Sorry, just to interject here for a second. For those of us of a certain age, the fact that this Florida State and Miami game is not getting more, this used to be, this was the event, dude. It was, and every year it was so drama filled with field goals going left or right. But yeah, just that's almost the same thing I was saying to you, and then we'll wrap up. But preseason, before the season started, that Clemson North Carolina game would have been a 7:30 matchup, a marquee way for ACC to put what their programs are on display. And now, who gives a fuck? And now it's almost everybody's opinion on Florida State and Miami, and that's crazy to me because that was such a huge event whenever I was a kid growing up.
Well,
But anyway,
it's really odd to me that game days in Tuscaloosa when, and then I get Vanderbilt. You know, it's a storyline.
yeah, that's exactly why.
But Miami's number 3, and Florida State. I know they lost last week, but you know they're ranked in the top 25. I just find it really odd that game day's not there and it doesn't get the whole treatment. But you know, Georgia, Alabama didn't get the whole full treatment, and maybe that's why we lost. I don't know.
That's it.
Yeah. All
Nothing
right. So remember to like and subscribe. Um, follow us on all social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Terminus Sports _ATL. Keep subscribing. Keep liking our videos. Comment what you think. How much Georgia? Is Georgia going to win, and how much do they win by? Any housekeeping notes before we go?
Not for me. Nope.
All right. Well, we'll see you on the other side.